Hey, check this out. You got to hear this. This is what I did this past weekend. Your boy spoke at the CWF. Yes, that is the Christian Wrestling Federation. A dream come true, and you're going to want to stick around to hear that. And also, this episode, for those of you who maybe you've ever felt alone, maybe you felt broken, maybe you felt forgotten. I have too. And this is what I've found. I'm going to share a story of how God redeems and how he restores and how he mends the brokenhearted. It's all coming up next. And what's really cool is if you stick around to the very end, I have a brand new resource for you, absolutely free. Who doesn't love free, right? It's all happening right after this. Yo, welcome back to the When Words Don't Come Easy podcast. My name is Andy Howard, and I am so glad to be here with you. It's always an honor, and the fact that you're listening to this right now, that means the world to me, so thank you. Before we jump into all the exciting stuff that happened this past week, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping, ask you guys to help me with this, and for the longest, I struggled with this, and Tiff's like, why are you struggling with this? This is, again, not about you, but this is about helping people, and this is about helping get the mission out. So my encouragement is that you would, if you're getting something out of this podcast, will you please leave a review, a 5-star review, please. Helps forward the mission. It helps me help people. And if you haven't got the book yet, here's your chance. You can get it from andyhoward.com. It shows everywhere it's available. It's available on Kindle. I will even read it for you on Audible, or you can go to Amazon and get it from there. And again, a 5-star review from any of those places would, again, just help promote the book. It would help us help people. And that's what this is all about, is helping people. So excited to do that. That's what I feel called to do. That's why I'm doing this. It's just to help people. And God has been so faithful to me. And I feel like I would be a hypocrite if I didn't help others find the hope that I found. So again, andyhoward.com. That's where you can find out all of what I just mentioned. There's also a newsletter there at andyhoward.com. It's called The Howard Hustle. Sign up there. There is so much value, and I feel like I've been doing you a disservice. There is so much value that our team puts out every single week on there, from the newsletters, free resources, and everything that they offer. And you can always find out where I'm going to be speaking. I think it would be so cool to meet you in person sometime. But until then, we always have this podcast. So we're going to jump right in. This past week was a dream come true for me. Check this out. I got to speak from a wrestling ring. Isn't that cool? Like, isn't that every 8-year-old boy's dream come true? I remember as a kid with my brothers running around the house, of course, when mom and dad were gone. But it was like our life-size wrestling ring. The whole house was jumping off the top of bunk beds, and all in whitey tighties, mind you, because we were trying to be like the Von Erichs, you know. I would not recommend that. And please don't share that with anybody. Hopefully nobody paid attention to that part. But it was just fun, man. It was dreams. It was living out heroic, dreams come true this weekend, getting to preach from a wrestling ring. Of all the speaking engagements I've ever had, I've never quite experienced one like this. So cool. Took me back to my childhood days. I remember trying to be Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. That was a terrible impression. But those who know, if you've never tried your Macho Man impression, you're just not a true wrestling fan. That's what it is. But whether you're a wrestling fan or not, there is so much hope for you today. I do not want you to check out on me. We have become a wrestling family. I've seen what it's done for my daughters. I've seen it firsthand. Presley, precious girl, I love her so much. And she Oh man, she was alone, and just being honest with you, she had insecurities. She was having a hard time finding friends. Her confidence was shot. And through this program, they do a kids camp, and now it's extended through the school season. Usually it's only in the summertime, but it's extended throughout the school season. And every Sunday night they have this, it's a camp, and they come and they work out and they learn wrestling moves, not wrestling. You can tell I'm from the South. But they learn all these things. But the coolest thing is their teachers. One's a youth pastor, and I kid you not, this dude has helped them so much with their confidence. He himself is a pro wrestler. He's a bad guy. If you were to go watch him at one of the shows, you would think this dude is a bad man. But yeah, he's got the heart of gold, man, and he has helped these kids, and I've watched her come to life. I found that she's found her place where she belongs and fits in. It's been so beautiful watching this. And so to see it go full circle this past weekend, I got to speak, I got to preach from a wrestling ring. 7 first-time salvations, first-time new believers in Christ. How cool is that? And so many more responded to the altar call for anxiety and depression. It was just an amazing weekend. Really just blessed me so much. And it reaffirmed what I'm doing. It reaffirmed that yes, you can do something scared. You can do something afraid and change people's lives. And I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. But at the same time, I promised God, every time he gives me an opportunity, I will say yes, and I will go for it. And he's never left me alone. So what was really cool also this past weekend, I got to speak at another church, did 2 services. And again, the altar calls were overwhelmingly full for anxiety and depression. And it lets me know, man, I can't stay silent on this subject. I have to let it out. I have to keep speaking. I have to keep sharing on this because I think, unfortunately, there are so many, and you're probably here yourself with some form of anxiety, some form of depression. I wish I could say everything was just easy, that life was easy, but it doesn't work that way. You know, somewhere along the way, as we go from a child to that adult life, we find out that, wow, those simple dreams we had running around in our underwear, trying to be the next big thing, the next wrestler. Maybe you didn't do that. Maybe I was the only one foolish enough to do that. But whatever it was, we find out as we get older, life gets harder. It gets harder. And I shared the story about my other daughter, Parker, this weekend. Actually, all 3 daughters were mentioned this weekend. But my middle daughter, Parker, who's a twin, so she's technically only a middle daughter by 2 minutes. We were on a dream cruise, and because of my dogs are barking. I will be right back. 1 second. All right, dude. You're going to have to edit that out, the very end about the doggies. Hopefully it wasn't I don't know how much you could hear. I could hear it. So hopefully it's not bad enough. There's no guarantee she's going to listen to me, bro. But we're going to pick it up from right here. So we were on our dream cruise, and I'm going to jump right into this. If you've read the book, you can get a lot more details behind it, but due to time, I'm just going to jump right into this. And Parker had gotten this ship. It was Pirate Night, and it was a big old box. And you know, Disney, they do a very good job of product placement. And right in front of dinner, there's this beautiful pirate ship, and she wanted it. And so we got one for each of the girls. They both wanted one. And when we got back to the room, I was wearing this full-on pirate costume because we don't do anything halfway in our family, right? And sure enough, it was middle of July, and this leather jacket, this long leather coat, this pirate thing was like 50 pounds worth of sweat at this point. So I asked her, just let me change real quick. I will be right out. I will help you. Well, for some reason, I guess all the excitement, she wanted to get into the box. When she ripped open the box, the corner of the box jabbed into her eye. And the crazy thing is there are three parts to the eye. And what I know now is that she was 1 centimeter away from being blind. 1 centimeter away. If it had hit the retina, she would have been permanently blind in her left eye at 6 years old. And I didn't know that then, but I do know we were in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. Our phones didn't work. We still had 5 days left on this cruise. My anxiety, my fears were at an all-time high. We had split up because Presley and Mom went to the top floor for the big party, the pirate party with Mickey and fireworks off the boat. And me and Parker are in the room, and I can't even get a hold of her. All I could do is pray, and she keeps saying, Daddy, Daddy, my eye, I can't see. I can't see. And I just held her, and I prayed, and it's a very helpless feeling as a parent. Very helpless. And I finally convinced her just to lay down and try to rest and try to go to sleep. And a couple hours later, Tiff and Presley came in. And we told her what happened, and she was crying to her mama and said, Mama, I can't see. Tiff and I were scared. We were scared. We didn't know what to do. Were they going to care fly her off the cruise? Were we going to stop at the next port? And who knows what kind of skills they had at that hospital? It was such a crazy time. We finally made it to the doctor on board. And all she could recommend is that as soon as we get back, we see a specialist, because she tried to look at her eye, but she was very limited tools of what she had on the cruise ship. So that was even more anxiety for the next 5 days waiting to see the doctor. And when we finally saw the doctor, he was able to say, man, it was very scary. She had a very deep cut and her lens was shattered. And so they had to stitch up her eye, replace her lens. So she had to go into emergency surgery. But again, he told us at that point she was 1 centimeter away from it hitting the retina. So you can read the rest of my book. There are so many God winks, so many times where I look at how God has just blessed us and he just wanted me to know he's there and he loves us. And that was another time. I don't believe in coincidences or accidents. And God stopped that box right at the last place and saved her eye. I believe that with all my heart. So it's so cool. We felt all alone. We felt lost, but God was there. And you may feel that way yourself. You may be facing something that's overwhelming. You may be facing some kind of anxiety, depression. You know my story. I've dealt with depression myself. There were times when I didn't even want to get out of bed. There were so many times I look back 10, 14 years ago from that 4-year period where it was just so hard. I put on a fake smile. I didn't want to really face people. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't feel like it, but I had to. And that's the only thing that kept me going at times. And there were many times where I gave a half-hearted effort just to get through the day. But looking back, man, God never left me. And what I love and what I remember is a few weeks back, our worship pastor at our church, he stopped during worship music in the worship part of the service. And he said, he wanted to tell us a story. And he said, my name is Zachary. And I want to tell you what my name means. My name means he remembers. God remembers is what it means. And he said, do you know what remembers means? And at first I was like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. I know what remembers means. It's kind of like if you have a memory, you have something from the past. It's so easy to remember. Oh yeah, I remember that. That's what remembers means. And he said, actually remembers means and members. It's two separate words there. how God remembers us. He remembers us. He puts us back together. He remembers us. You've heard my story about the beauty and the broken, right? And I've shared it on several episodes, but it's the beauty and the broken. That's what he whispered to me when I was at my darkest place in life. I felt broken. I felt all alone. And he whispered, there is beauty in the broken. I felt that so strong that day on the beach, walking at my all-time high in depression. There's beauty in the broken. He remembers us. And if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling broken, man, God, there's nothing too big for my God. He loves you. He loves me. He loves all of us. He remembers us. He puts us back together again. And that's what I wanted to share. I saw that all week long from the 3 different times I got to speak. He was faithful for me. He was faithful, and he's faithful for you. But he was faithful for me to do it scared, to do it when I didn't have confidence, when I didn't think I belonged there as a speaker, as a just a normal guy. That's all I am. I'm just a normal dude. But God loves me, and I know he loves you. He remembers. He remembers us. So there is a challenge I have for you. And here's the freebie. Here's the free gift I have for you. If you go to andyhoward.com/hope, andyhoward.com/hope, I want to give you the 7 Days of Hope challenge. It's a great free resource. It's going to help you. It's going to remind you of where your hope is. And it works. It works. I'm so grateful for it. So I pray that it will be a blessing to you. I've prayed over every single word of my book. I prayed for every single word that I share on these podcasts. And I pray for you. I hope that you will find hope, and the true hope that comes from God alone. This world is hard. This world will make us feel broken. This world will make us feel hopeless. But our God is a God of love and a God of hope. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you guys for being here today. I thank you so much. And again, if this has been a blessing, if there's someone God has placed on your mind as you were hearing this podcast, someone who could use some hope, will you please share it with them? Will you share a positive review, and go to andyhoward.com and sign up at the Howard Hustle for other great free resources. But again, for the 7 Days of Hope challenge, you can find that at andyhoward.com/hope. Thanks so much for being here. Love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. If this episode helped you in any way, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review and share it with somebody else. Thanks so much. I'll catch you next time.